Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is our Rice News analyst, Emmanuel Efeni, the great Malabite who just came back from Abuja. who will debrief you properly later.
Abuja.
Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Abachi. Dr. Abachi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. Yes, we had to be in Abuja. Yes, at the instance of our regulators, the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission for Stakeholders Consultation. Of course, it went well, but the engagement will continue with the regulator.
You bought Kilishi, that's the part we are interested in.
Of course, the regulator asking all to meet their obligations, and of course, broadcasters also putting their problems, challenges, and that conversation will continue. There will be several engagements, and it's good when you engage with the regulator so that it's not like they are policemen waiting to just drop the hammer.
Yeah.
But quite the new DG doing very well.
I hope you brought Kilishi.
Kilishi. Well, we'll discuss that. Now, let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. Well, we'll start with the story above the masthead. Nigeria's treasury bills auction oversubscribed by 254.23%. Naira maintains slide, now 1,308 naira to the dollar on official market and 1,300 naira on parallel market. Yes, despite the fact that a couple of days ago, the CBN sold another tranche of FX to the BDCs at 1,100 to the dollar. That's the rate it gave it to the BDCs. But as we can see from this report, well, the Naira still is sliding, but, well, perhaps it's controlled sliding, if you will. Now, if you look at the lead story there, Tinubu, we need more functional justice system to protect rights of all citizens. Well, Ruben, you dilated and Rufai a lot on the need for the reform of the justice system. Of course, the issue of long delays in trial is one problem we need to deal with. And if all the challenges you mentioned address, perhaps there will be quicker dispensation of justice. I always remember one case all the way from the Ijaw-speaking area of Delta State. They had this case with Shell. Rotimi Williams was the Shell lawyer. Alawi Broderick Bozimo, the community lawyer. That case started when Broderick Bozimo's son, who is a practicing lawyer now, was a toddler. By the time the case was concluded, of course, Rotimi Williams had passed on. Alawi Bozimo's son, who was a toddler when the case started, was part of the team that finished that case at the Supreme Court. You imagine the number of years, over 20-something or almost 30 years it took to conclude that case. Justice delayed, as they say, is justice denied. So as they address the challenges, we just want to believe that when these challenges are addressed, we also have quicker dispensation of justice. I think just to add that. Now, if we look at the Daily Trust newspaper, quickly, yes, corruption, undue influence, undermining our judicial system. Of course, the Chief Justice of Nigeria making that statement at that conference yesterday. Corruption is a big issue, because we expect judges to be like Caesar's wife who are above board. But when we hear of cases of inducement, corruption, especially when it gets to matters of electoral cases, then it's a worrisome development. And I just hope with the resolve of the Chief Justice of Nigeria to ensure that things work differently under his watch as the chairman of the Judicial Council, although part of the problem is that the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the chairman of the Judicial Council, is also too powerful. So perhaps all that will be addressed, or for better dispensation of justice. Yes, the Punch newspaper. Consumers lament as food prices rise 30% in 8 states. Well, food inflation still a major problem, induced by the decline of the value of the naira, amongst other factors, and Nigerians are still very much worried that the money in their pockets cannot buy them the basics they need for daily survival. Mudu of gari, olodo of beans, all going up, and the people are still complaining. Of course, the story on the front page of this day, the Lagos State government, Sanwo-Olu, we have offered free food to 500,000 residents in Lagos under eco-cares. Well, 500,000 in Lagos still a small number. But doing something, well, you want to say it's a welcome development. As they say in local parlance, at all, not bad. So the Lagos State government under Governor Sanwo-Olu has started, and they are trying to reach out, I think, but they need to do more so that more people can also benefit from this endeavor. The Guardian newspaper, and Ruben, this will interest you as one of those first-class graduates that made it all the way. You had the opportunity to be a lecturer and decide to do other things. But according to this report, as a result of the federal government's non-retention policy, over 5,032 first-class graduates languish amid vacancies in varsities. The universities have a lot of vacancies, and this, of course, in time past, first-class graduates literally shoveled into that position because they know they have the capacity, and before you know, in a couple of years or thereabout, they have earned their doctorate degree. So, Dr. Bati, what is this? I'm sure you will dilate on this. Why are first-class graduates no longer being given pride of place in our university in terms of recruitment? And you see the process. You have to go through 6 ministries and agencies of government to be employed as a lecturer. And that in itself is hurting the system. Now, if you just move over to the next newspaper there, the New Telegraph newspaper, Oyedele Tax Reforms Committee warns defaulters declared unfit for political polls. Well, that has always been the case, but whether the authorities effect that now, you must show your tax clearance. Remember the famous case of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, who was erroneously disqualified because of tax issues. Of course, that was sorted out, and he contested that election. If we just look at the foreign newspapers quickly, Business Day South Africa, bank seeks power relief for GDP. Now, move on to the Times of London. The Times of London. England worst in world for underage drinking. 11-year-old involved in drinking. And you know what? All this issue of binge drinking in the UK. And that is a big problem in the UK. And of course, another story there. A girl arrested for stabbing teacher and a couple of students also in the UK. 9th violence, of course, the problem also in the UK. If you just put up the New York Times, yes, finally, the New York Times. The story there on the left-hand side, that more campuses are protesting the issue of Palestinian, the Gaza massacre, the Gaza genocide. But the way the government is reacting, freedom of speech, freedom to protest, in America, under threat. Any protest against what Israel is doing in Gaza is not seen as anti-Semitism. That is not good for a country.
They
Yes.
must have their freedom to protest, but they should also respect the rights of others. In as much as I support them, they have a right to air the views of the people of Gaza that are suffering, but I must also respect that they're shutting the university system down. In fact, in-class in-class lectures have stopped in most of these universities. You can't afford to shut down system because you want to protest. Make your voices heard. Have other, very nice ways of protesting, but not just shut down everything in total and all of that. And the tagging, of all of these presidents as anti-Semite, that's what I don't like by the Anti-Defamation League. Because these people, some of the presidents themselves are Semites. You can't call the Semites anti-Semites themselves. So it doesn't make sense at all.
Well,
but respect their rights.
Dr. Abati.
The story front page of Times, I think it's a thing that all parents should be worried about. It says simply that about 3 out of 11-year-olds in England, are introduced to drinking very early, particularly by their parents, middle-class parents, and this has become a problem. So drinking among the underage is not just a problem in England. There's also the concern about smoking. One of the things Rishi Sunak has proposed is a smoking ban to stop children who were born after 2020, not to be allowed to smoke. So these are some of the challenges. And then the knife killing in Amman Valley in South Wales. It's a school in Amman Valley in South Wales. 2 students, quarreling. And then the teacher tried to separate them. Do you know that the throat of the teacher was slashed? Another teacher managed to get away lightly. So, they've tried to arrange, they've arrested one of the students. They are investigating. But it's frightening. Knife attack is a major problem, in the United Kingdom. School bullying and all of that, which is also a problem that we face here in Nigeria. So the first-class people who are not given jobs. One, the university system has been terribly mismanaged. In the past, people who are first class, the university will not even allow you to go. They will make you a graduate assistant, they will give you scholarship, to take graduate degrees, and you come back and serve the community. And then again, the university has been so damaged, teaching is no longer attractive. People would rather go to the corporate sector to find a career in other places. And then you find a lot of average people who are patient, staying back to teach. But of course, scholarship is, you have to apply yourself. So even if you are a 2-2 third-class graduate, if you stay at it, you will grow and you will improve. And the first-class people will be out in the system. Outside system that will not even give them the space or the respect that they deserve. Thank you very much.